Welcome to Empirical Pea Pod. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. If you could, please subscribe, follow, share, like, comment, whatever the hell happens when we do these things. I'm your host, Tim Day. Let's get to the show.
A good chance my daughters will message me to say, "Daddy, can I have some candy, Daddy?" Ask your grandma.
Oh, it's just nice to have somebody care about you.
Yeah. No, I love them.
You would.
Call me anytime.
That's awesome. All right, we're here with one of my greatest friends of all time, which I've said before, but I still stand by it as being true for multiple people. Jason Yunker.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Howdy ho.
Thank you for taking the time. I appreciate you coming out. We are awkwardly sitting on the side of my sister's house, face to face, as uncomfortably close as possible.
Well, we could get closer, I'm sure.
in the grueling, humid. It's a nice humid heat.
Yeah. Yeah.
I appreciate you taking the time, man. How have you been?
I've been pretty good. Things have been good lately.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, things are going well. I just got hired as a dedicated substitute teacher
nice.
at Boulder Hill School.
Oh, that's really cool.
So
I was just talking to Katie Tiffin earlier today, and she went to school there when she first.
She went to Boulder Hill?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Nice.
could be misremembering that because my head hurts so much.
Right. You just fill in. Anytime you talk to somebody, you're like, "Did you
Yeah.
know Katie Tiffin
Yeah.
went to that same school
You know
too?"
what it is? I've decided she did.
Right.
You know what? Whether she did or not, that's her history
Yeah.
now. So I want to start with, because I kind of started the same show, or each show kind of similarly with all of us, because we've all been together for so long. And actually, you're one of the originals.
Of what?
Because in the friend group, I've said that like some people knew each other since kindergarten. Some people plugged in at elementary, junior high, and high school. But we've all been like 20 years at this point.
Yeah.
But you're one of the originals from kindergarten.
Yeah.
That's crazy. How did you even meet everybody?
30.
Is it just a proximity thing?
Because Walsh and Teresina both lived right around the corner from me, and Halder, my mom had me go to his house before kindergarten because she had to work in the mornings, and we had afternoon kindergarten. So I went over there, and in kindergarten, Halder and Teresina and Walsh and I had the same kindergarten class, and I remember specifically these words being spoken between Dan Walsh and I. "Hey, you're wearing the same shirt as I am. Let's be friends." So that worked out. So if you want to be good friends with somebody, find out what shirt they're going to wear tomorrow.
Not for nothing, I feel like 40 years later, Walsh still makes friends that way.
Right?
Like, hey, that's a cool shirt. I have that shirt.
Yeah, that's all it takes for him. He's easy. Yeah.
So as kind of coming up and then everything, we'll jump ahead to, because we've all stayed close through school and everything. After high school, where did you end up after high school?
In college here.
Yeah.
And
did you go to community college here?
Yeah,
or
I went
did you
to
go to an actual university.
Yeah, I went to community college, Waubonsie, out in Sugar Grove, and then like a year after, I did the Disney college program for the first time.
Yeah.
And that
those are just gunshots. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, right. We live near Chicago. That changed my life, and then I just did college and was here, and I did a semester out in Idaho.
Yeah, I like that you're trying to gloss over your time in Disney.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So you actually got to go, there was a program there you got to go and like basically work at Disney.
Yeah.
And just kind of live in Florida and live that whole life. And what did you, I already know, what did you do in Disney?
The first time I was there, I worked at the Magic Kingdom, and I worked 6 different rides. This was right after they introduced the Fast Pass system at Disney.
Oh, nice.
So, like, I got to work the lines.
Were you excited, like, this is going to revolutionize everything?
I thought it was a pretty good system. You know what I was like? So it doesn't sound that exciting, but the lines are the lifeblood of Disney World.
Right.
So like, it was interesting, and the best part about it was when it was my days off and I went into the parks, I knew everybody who ran the line, so I never waited in line, which might have been a disservice to my life because I cannot stand lines. I can't do it.
I know that there's a little rule you have if somebody leaves commercials on during a YouTube video You tickle them.
The AAR, the anti-ad robot becomes activated, and I will tickle them. Yep.
Until they skip the commercials.
Yeah.
So,
I think my daughters like it because I'll be in my room and they'll be like, "Hey, Daddy, there's an ad on." Like AAR activated, and then I go tickle them.
How long did you spend out in Florida?
It was 5 months the first time, and then so the second time was even more interesting. Or I don't know.
Did you come home in between, or did you stay down there?
So yeah, no, I was down there. It was spring of 2002, and then I dreamt of going back for 8 years, and finally 2010, I was at the end of college. You know, it only took like 8 years to do it.
Yeah, they're called doctors.
Yeah, exactly. So I was finishing up my degree, and I was like, I'm going to do the Disney College program one more time. So I did, and I worked it out. I worked at the Wildlife Express train, and I got to drive or engineer a train and be a conductor and give a little spiel.
That's awesome.
On the back. Yeah, that was amazing. I loved that. And then I ended up, so that was in the August of 2010, and then I graduated December 31st, 2010, but then I extended my program to stay down there until May.
Oh, nice. So I didn't realize you were down there in 8 years had passed. Mm-hmm. Because also in there, let's see, what was it? 2005. You were a guitarist. We were in the same band. We put out our first album. Oh, I just dropped my phone.
Yeah.
Don't break the fourth wall.
That was, because that's partly what led me to Disney was, I wanted to go back to school because I left the band because I wanted to focus on finishing my degree.
Well, am I incorrect? Because I easily could be misremembering. I thought at that time at least one of the reasons was leaving because you had gone to do mission work.
That was in 2003.
Okay. Oh, that was when we were.
That was right. So we were
before, we had just started.
Right. We had, you and I had jammed, and then it was like, hey, Jay's in for this, and then I was like, I'm leaving for 2 years.
We're like, oh, good.
But then I was only gone for 2 months.
Yeah.
And then when I came back, we went full swing with it. And
that's true. That's. How was your experience with the mission work? Because like you said, it was supposed to be a lot longer.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 2 years.
So you're just like, this just isn't for me, or.
Yeah, I feel like part of why, at the time, I feel like part of why I did it was because I felt like I didn't know what else to do.
Sure.
And I felt like I knew it could be a good thing.
Yeah. I think it was still a positive experience.
Yeah, overall it was.
Yeah.
And I wish I would have been in a mind state, spiritually prepared to do that in full.
But what do you mean by that? Like, just where you were mentally at that time? Mentally and spiritually, of course.
Yeah, I just wasn't spiritually. I don't know how else to put it. I just, when
Makes sense.
I got out
you weren't ready to receive what was happening?
Yeah.
Kind of that sort of thing?
Yeah, and I got out there and I was really depressed, and I don't know, I just decided to come home.
It's in Idaho, right?
That was in Utah, and
the
mission, when you're on a mission for the LDS church, it's you can talk to your mom or grandma or whatever through mail and email once a week.
Really?
There's no phone calls, nothing like that.
Is that pretty normal, where it's just not anti-technology, but it's just to keep you focused?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right.
But it's still jarring coming from our normal everyday oversharing and overconnected to being like, no.
Right. And now I think about that, how awesome, how I wish I would have embraced it, because it's like, dude, all I have
to have a break.
2 years of just going around talking about Jesus, that sounds amazing, man. That's your full-time job. That sounds awesome. Because that's really all you're doing is talking to people, and even if you're not talking about Jesus, you're just talking to people about how's it going? What can I do to help you? I'm here to serve this area. I've been called for this area to serve the needs, whatever.
Does that happen outside of Utah?
All over the world.
Is it, I figure it's probably everywhere.
The whole world.
That's crazy.
I think there's only a few countries still that, China, I believe, is very limited on missionaries being able to serve there.
Yeah.
But other than that,
Now, and also, so you said LDS, which is the Latter-day Saints.
Yeah. So the church.
That's Mormonism, or is it a specific sect?
No, so it's the.
I'm pretty ignorant to the whole thing.
No, that's okay. It's most people say Mormon, and it's
Okay.
not the Mormon Church. We have the Book of Mormon,
Right.
which is where that comes
It'd be like
from.
a Christian calling themselves a Bibler.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And I think, I don't know for sure, but I think that came about as like these Mormons kind of negative thing, and we, like most things, we embraced it. And
Which, man, I don't know how you can not admire. I don't even know what you would call it. Just admire the mentality of everything that's thrown at that kind of a group, and just being like, okay,
yeah.
sure.
Well, you know what? But yeah, well, first of all, it's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the official name. And at one point, Missouri had literally an extermination order against the Mormons.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So they were hunted.
That's crazy to me.
So I think too, with that kind of perspective, like, well, things could get a lot worse now. So pretty good right now.
I do like the idea that kind of helped, like a sense of humor almost, where it's like, well, it could be bad.
Yeah. Well, I think that one of the biggest, for me, what I see in the church is the biggest thing about life and everything is the ability to choose.
Yeah.
Free agency. So if I want my ability to choose, I need to make sure everybody else has their own ability to choose as well.
Yeah. Which I think is interesting, because stereotypically somebody would see that sort of thing and be like, oh, there's no choice there.
Yeah.
They're very controlled and whatever. But, and you and I have talked about it at length over a long friendship, just because I'm fascinated by it. And I think it's interesting. The community around the church is insane. Like, they really take care of each other. Like, they genuinely care about each other.
Yeah.
In a way that I'm not trying to piss in anybody else's Cheerios, but I don't see necessarily in other things where it becomes like, well, who's wearing the coolest hat at church, or what does everybody look like, and how's everybody doing? It's not a game of one-upsmanship.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm still becoming a man.
You'll get there, buddy. Yeah, and I think you see that in any community.
Yeah.
People always comparing, that
Keeping up with the
Eleanor
Joneses,
Roosevelt
if you will.
quote, the comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
And people just everywhere compare themselves. So yeah, that you'll see. And
I'm sure that there's even some of that within, but as a whole, it feels very communal.
Yeah. I mean, if somebody has a surgery, or something like that, they'll organize people to bring dinners to the family for a week.
Yeah.
Or help out in whatever ways they can.
Do you guys, is that like kind of reflective in the community, or is it more within like the sect?
You mean like the people of the community, or just the
like
church members?
Just the church members.
No, like for instance, if you're somebody out there who's struggling financially or whatever, reach out to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, because they have resources to help. And you don't have to be a member of the church. The whole community, the idea is not just for the members, it's for the people of the area in which our ward is. Like a ward is a boundary usually consisting of up to like around 400 people.
Okay.
And so like I go to the Oswego ward.
Right.
And so that area, so the bishop of the Oswego ward, he oversees everything. And so he would be somebody that people can talk to, like if you're struggling to keep the lights on or you need food. The church has storehouses with food all over the place.
That's amazing. So they genuinely practice what they preach.
Yeah, that's from what I see, yeah.
Yeah, and you've been doing it your whole life.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Let's jump back to then 2005. So yeah, well, you're right. Because we still played our first show in like December 2003.
Was that when we? Yeah.
It was December.
Where was it? Was that with Schmed? And wasn't
it
the
was
first one with?
Yeah, it was with Schmed.
Hey Jimmy.
Up at it's called like Cal's Bar. Mm-hmm. And we only had 4 songs anyway.
Yeah,
we're like, we're gonna play for 10 minutes.
Yep. We're just gonna drive an hour up to Chicago,
carry all
our stuff, and play for 2 people at this bar.
You and Randy weren't even 21. So
were we not? Okay,
we were only 20 at that point.
That's still one of my favorite stories when we were walking out, because there was that old local guy there. We were walking out, and Schmed's yelling at Jimmy, "Yo, Jimmy! And the local guy turns around and says, "Oh, yeah?" And Schmid's like, "Oh, my bad. I was talking to my friend Jimmy. Is your name Jimmy too?" And the guy's no, and walks away. Like, okay. All right, bud.
That is funny. So then we recorded our first album in 2005. We did a lot of fun stuff, a lot of fun shows and stuff. And then, do you remember when we played up in Wisconsin? With
at the church,
the Stars. Yeah, at the church.
Oh, the Stars. Yeah.
Yeah, and we had the giggles so bad in the hotel room.
Yeah.
We just kept beating the shit out of each other with pillows.
Pillow fighting.
And throwing each other on the bed.
Right.
Those are fun times.
Yeah.
But
that was good.
Back to you, Jay. When I talked with Jay the other day, and he's like, "Oh, it'd be fun to get all of us on a call at once and maybe do an episode." And I'm like, "That would be fun."
Yeah.
We'll see where life takes us.
Uh-huh.
But so you end up leaving the band to go back to school.
Yep.
What year was that?
I don't even remember, honestly.
Had to be like 07? Because
Somewhere.
Guy joined in January of 08 was our first show. So
Okay.
he had to have joined somewhere in the latter half of 07.
That sounds right, because I was planning on going to Idaho full time. I went to BYU Idaho.
Yeah.
And so I think
where
that's
got
what.
Idaho. Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm like, where did I get Idaho?
Yeah. So I was signed up for school there. I went for the one semester, and then I didn't like that, so I found a different program that brought me back home here,
Yeah.
and I did that one.
And then, what did you? Because you were a substitute teacher now, so you have a teaching degree.
No, I just have a bachelor's degree.
Okay, you have a bachelor's degree, but it's sub-licensed.
And the sub license
Just
requires
handing money to the state.
you got a bachelor's degree. Okay, can
Yeah.
you fill out a couple forms? All right, you're hired. Come on in.
Yeah, that's like I have the paraprofessional license too, and they're like, "Can you give the state $50?" And I'm like, "Well, sure."
Yeah.
Like, you're in.
Yeah, right. Well, I knew you had it in you. Dude, the first day of being a sub, I signed up. I went online. I picked my assignment. I went to the school, said, "Hi, I'm Jason." They gave me my badge and they said, "You're in room whatever. Here you go." That's it. I had no training. There was no training. There was no, not even like a rundown. Like, by the way, here's a list of the rules in the school.
Here's some don'ts and some do's.
Right. Sure.
It's actually insane to think about that, because I was the same way when I started at the junior high. Nothing.
Yeah.
Just, all right, we'll see you.
Yeah.
And then if I don't go and talk to them, because I'm an annoying employee who like checks in, like, where am I at? How am I doing? What can I do different? Otherwise, nobody would talk to me at all. And it's one of those things of no news is good news.
Yeah. You know what though? And like I would have appreciated some of that. At the same time, I hate trainings. I hate them. So it worked out just fine. Like I'm kind of glad that it went that way.
Yeah, I think it's it's the double-edged sword, because if they would have, I would have been like, I hate this. I really love being left alone.
Yeah, right? Let me figure it out.
Yeah. And you actually get to sub with your girls.
Yeah, so my girls they're going into first grade and third grade. And so all last year I chose, because I could, as a sub, I can pick where I go. I chose to be there, and I was pretty much there almost every day of the school year.
Yeah.
But then they have a position called a dedicated building sub that's full-time every day of school.
Yeah.
I'm in there, and
That's what you just got hired for.
Yeah,
That's
awesome.
awesome.
It pays a little bit more, and so I get to be in there for sure every day with my girls, and they love it, and I love it, and it's good. I get good feedback from them. They're like, "Yeah, everybody likes you, and you're a great sub, and we love having you there." So, yeah, it's pretty awesome.
One of the things that I've always admired about you, because I think we're kind of similar, is that we are not really adults.
Nope.
Like, we're responsible. We can handle our stuff.
Yeah.
We're not idiots, and we're not deadbeats by any means. But like I was saying before we got on, like, even at 40, like, adults still make me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because somewhere you lose that wonderment,
Uh-huh.
somewhere you kind of lose that being able to relate to somebody younger than you and what they're going through. Even though you went through it,
Yeah.
at some point you've decided, like, no, you should bootstraps, right?
Yeah.
Pick your stuff up by your bootstraps.
Right.
You better. and which is probably one of the reasons we're in such a
Never got
mental
boots,
crisis.
so maybe that's the problem.
Yeah, you'll notice I've recently given up socks completely.
Nice.
You know what? I was like, you know what? Nobody's gonna tell me to put socks on.
No, that's not you don't have to
If
wear
anything,
socks.
they're just gonna they're gonna tell somebody else this asshole didn't wear socks.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with.
Why are you looking at my feet?
Yeah. How have you maintained like that wonderment and stuff like that? Because you've got kids now. We've always been kids of Disney, where I still watch Disney movies alone and love them. Like I watch Moana once a week. It's so good.
It is.
That's
a powerful one, man.
Yeah, Inside Out. Also, it's like
Bug's Life, man. I can watch that every day.
They're all so good. What do you think separates us from like kind of losing that, and how we've managed to hold on to it?
I don't fully know. All I know is that I think part of growing up is maybe has something to do with like the quote unquote rules of society and what you're expected. Like you said about cartoons, like, you know, you talk to some like men, the generation, like our parents' generation, you don't watch cartoons or whatever. And it's like, no, we're going to do what we like to do.
Right. I remember rushing home to catch the after-school cartoons, like Bonkers and the Rescuers.
Disney
Rangers.
Afternoons.
Yeah, and it's like, your parents would be there like, you're 13 years old. What are you doing enjoying life?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel when I like you said, I still look at people like they're more grown up than me, or like even at like in the school, there's some younger teachers who I think are like in their 20s, and I look at them like, man, I hope when I grow up I'm like as, you know, well-rounded as they are. It's like I'm 20 years older than them almost. But that's why I like being at the school, because, you know, when I talk to the kids, they're like, yeah, I understand.
So I gotta think, like, because I have a similar thing where I don't belong working at a school. It's very much out of my wheelhouse. But the kids absolutely love me and attach to me because I don't talk to them like an adult.
They're just people, and that's probably part of it too. Is like I see everybody as a person. Right. Like even my own kids. Yeah, I'm their father, but I realize these children are independent. They're their own people. They have, you know, their own life to live. Yeah. And it's not my job to control them. Right. Necessarily. Like it's not my job to control them. It's my job, I think, to like influence them in a good direction.
And I feel like if you do that well enough, generally they kind of make those decisions.
Hopefully.
And you're like, oh, this is perfect.
Yeah. I mean, now I feel like, I should say, like sometimes I do step in and control the situation.
Well, so they can't hurt themselves or go too far.
I have to be their dad.
The state hates it when your kids get killed.
Right. Yeah.
So you don't want to just let them all willy nilly.
Right. Yeah. No, that's no good.
So how long have you been a sub now?
2 years.
So 2 years, and let's fill in the gaps from 2010 to 2 years ago. So you went back to Disney.
Yeah.
To be Mr. Conductor.
Okay. Yeah. So I did that for a year and I loved it, and that was I don't think I'll ever top that job. That was a job I did not one day dread going in. In fact, every day, like I'd walk into the animal kingdom and I'd look at the mountain and be like, yo, dude, I'm going in here to work. Yeah. Like this is where I get to go every single day. And so I loved it, and I was actively looking for positions down there. Like they have a professional internship, which is super competitive. Like they'll have like 150 people who apply for one job, you know. So I applied, I didn't get it, but I did win an award called the Disney Service Year Award, which was pretty cool because they don't usually give it to the college program kids. Right. But I got that. I got to park backstage right by the train, which was really cool.
That is cool.
And then I came back home, and I was applying for jobs down there. And in November, I'd gone down for like a week to go talk to people and try and get a job / have a vacation again. And I got to go down there and work to keep my employment status there, which was pretty cool. But then I got offered, it was part-time. It was a part-time job, so it was like nothing, but I took it because I had a place to live. And so I loaded up and I moved down there. It was like a week before Christmas. And I got down there and I went to the first day of training and I was like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? I just graduated from school. I'm going to be making minimum wage.
Yeah,
and when I looked at
part-time,
like I'm not even at full-time. I'm at part. I have to work to get to full-time to then maybe get like the climb up the Disney ladder is super competitive. And also it's like I'm not sure what I would want to do further. And it's like I can go home and be a web developer and make a decent buck right now, or I can stay here.
Is that what your degree was in?
Yeah, web development.
Okay.
However, here I am now thinking I should have balanced that choice.
Yeah.
Because I don't like the corporate world of web development.
Sure.
So I did come home a week later. I came home.
When you say you wish you would have balanced it, because you probably could have explored web developing while working part-time in Florida?
Right.
Is that what you mean?
I could have done that. Who knows? Because here's the other thing I think about with COVID.
Yeah.
Dude, if I was working at the parks during COVID, I probably would have been laid off too.
For sure, yeah.
I mean, there's a good chance that wouldn't have panned out too well either.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I come home, and then a week later, I got my first job as a web developer at a company in Downers Grove.
Oh, that's pretty good. Nice.
So yeah, that worked out. So I did web development for, I don't know, like 10 years, and then I just decided I don't like that.
I don't like this.
I like the coding. I like coding. That's fun, but doing it in a professional setting with boss after boss of sitting there like, what if we made it blue? And they're like, well, why? I just think
I'm feeling blue for this part.
I learned one time because at the first job I got, in 9 months later, they made me a manager. And I would get emails back and forth with people who be like, yo, make this bigger, okay? Make it a little smaller.
Yeah.
And then, no, make it bigger. I said, let's just wait 24 hours. We're going to put it back to the original way, and then we're going to ask them if they like it. And we did. And they'd be like, oh, that looks great, thanks. I was like, yeah.
It's funny because I've dealt with a little of that because I was a project manager.
Uh-huh.
And it's the same thing like when you're setting up a business for somebody, and it's like, man, this one time, we had a mapped out year because they pay for a contract. Mm-hmm. And like, here's everything, and everything has to be on time. And it took them like 5 months to approve the logo.
Uh-huh.
And like everything else was just fudged at that point.
Yeah.
Because like you just blew the whole year.
Right.
And like we can't really take responsibility because we kept showing you and doing everything you said. And you kept changing it. Like, it's just insane. And it was so arbitrary where you're like, you're talking about nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. It's not changing anything.
And that's where I realized that I am not somebody who's motivated by on a spectrum of more money to happiness. I am motivated far less by money, because with the codes, the languages I was starting to learn there at the end were looking into like 80 to 120K jobs.
Right.
But it would be in the city, and all these, it just didn't motivate me. It's like, yeah, that sounds great, but even if I was making $120,000, I would dread, I just don't like this environment. Yeah. Like, it doesn't feel good.
Plus the commitment, like your life balance, work balance, is going to be completely skewed.
Right.
Because you have to care about that kind of a job, like so much more to stay there, because it's going to be competitive as well. It just doesn't.
And some people can do that, but then
absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, then
I wonder if that's one of the keys, because I'm not motivated by money. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan. I like having it.
You gotta have it.
Sure,
you gotta have it.
And I actually recently had a revelation. I did an episode with Melissa, and because she does a lot of like money-centric things, and she had mentioned, she said this sentence that like blew my mind, where she's like, I'm willing to have money. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
It's just like there's so much negative connotation around money.
Right.
And I always was like kind of pushing away because I'm like, I'm not driven by that.
Right.
But then I was like, you know what? You're right. I don't I want to eliminate all this negative feeling, and I want to be willing to have money. But I don't want to be controlled by it, and that's where the difference is. Like, it's kind of just having a healthier mentality.
Yeah.
It was interesting. You'll see if it ever goes live.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like, yeah, having that work-life balance is like having to drive into Chicago every day, and then like that alone, like, because I did that to Downers Grove, and then up. The second job I worked was for Empire Carpets.
You worked at Empire?
Did I not ever tell you that?
I did not know
800 and it's Empire Luna, so their website for 4 years.
They're together?
Yeah.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, they don't really want you to know specifically.
Right, yeah, they're two very successful companies.
Yeah. But yeah, they own, so that company right across from O'Hare.
Yeah.
So for 4 years I drove all the way in there and all the way back, and it was just not fun.
Yeah, that's... I used to drive, like I would drive to Guitar Center in Naperville from DeKalb, but it's like right down 88. It's still like the same distance and time, but it's such an easier ride than trying to get to O'Hare every day. Yeah.
Well, and especially it got frustrating because it's web development. I can do this
at home.
I do this at the beach, man. I can do it from anywhere.
Yeah. Remember when we used to make those arguments? And then COVID happened.
Yeah,
and everybody had to.
Yeah,
and we're like, we told you.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's what. When you talk about jobs, I admire this generation for saying no.
Yeah.
You know what? We've seen what it's done to our parents, our grandparents, and all the way back in this whole thing that we've just accepted. That's just the way it is. No.
Yeah.
No. Fine. I won't have a job.
Right.
Because COVID, the one shining light through there, I think, was. Making people say, you know what, I guess we can be all right with not having to go to work. We'll figure it out.
You said something that I really like also, because in a lot of ways we're millennials, elder millennials, and millennials like the first generation where we were like, no, it doesn't have to be this way. And then the next generation is like taking it a step further, where it's like, we're not going to do it that way.
Right.
And we'll do whatever we need to do to cut you out.
Yeah.
And I've always loved that. I get really frustrated with people that are like, this generation, I'm like, they're just taking what you did and doing it better. Like, every step is just the next step up. Like, you do the same, what you're saying, the generation before you said about you. You were at one point the dicks.
I don't understand how people don't see this. Like, that's, my generation. Like, of course your generation, ... because you grew up and you saw it firsthand. You felt it at certain times.
Exactly, yeah.
So, yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
We all have things to add, and then because it goes both ways. You see younger people blaming look what you left for us. It's like, okay, yeah, to a certain degree there are things like that, but I think everybody's hopefully trying to do their best with what we had.
I think that it becomes really depressing
for most of us
to not think that at least hope that everybody's doing the best they can with the information they have at the moment.
Yeah.
And that's where it kind of, I think, changes when you start thinking, okay, well, now we have this information. Okay, we can't hold it against this person because they didn't have that information.
Right.
Like, they did what they could then. It's like when people, like, I was talking with Katie about, not growing up in trauma, and, like, at some point you take responsibility for who you are as a person.
Yeah.
And you don't get to just blame your parents for the rest of your life or whatever traumatic incident you might have gone through. Like, at some point, you're either... it's not wanting to be a victim anymore.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, okay, I can today, moving forward, be who I want to be.
Yeah.
And that's, of course, ups and downs, don't get me wrong. Like, that can be a challenge at times, but you have to take responsibility for your life at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. And some people need to we all need to let each other make mistakes.
Right.
Because there's some people who are like, okay, I accept your apology. Now I want to keep talking about the things you did wrong.
Yeah.
It's like, wait. I thought we're trying to progress and evolve and move forward. We can't do that if you want to just talk about why something was wrong. What is that? Once we found a solution, or at least apologize, then let's move forward. Let's give everybody the benefit of doubt.
That's one of the things that irked me whenever I would have like leadership positions, is like somebody would make a mistake, and then it's the only time some big boss would come in and be like, who did it? And I'd be like, it doesn't matter who did it. Here's how we're going to fix it. Because realistically, you only care about the numbers. Anyway, here's how we're going to either make it a not loss, and a recovery, or we're going to recover in any way we're going to. you just want to come down here and punish somebody.
Yeah, where were you the 40 things he did right?
Right, exactly.
You're here for one mistake.
Yeah.
Like, where's the balance?
I've always been incredibly employee-centric.
Yeah.
And it's always cost me most of my job. Plus, I have a mouth on me
Uh-huh.
and principles, which people do not like.
No, they want you to fall in line. That when I was the manager at that one company, I got this idea from the office. Dwight said it, but a guy said, is it okay if I leave 30 minutes early today and, I'll stay 30 minutes late tomorrow? I said, fine. Or you can stay 1 minute late for the next 30 days. Do what you got to do. Well, yeah, that's the same just idea, like treating people not like ever above. I always tell them, like, I am the team leader here. We're a team.
Right.
I'm not your boss, like in the sense that I am your boss, but I'm
but
not.
it takes all of us to make this function.
Right. I'm not better than you in any way.
Some dickhead just chose me. It could have been any one of us.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Same mentality where, like, I think it also helps to get their buy-in in the first place, where it's like, because one of two things is going to happen. They're either going to rally behind you, or they're going to start getting a case of the ass where it's like, I could do what he's doing. It should have been me. And then they are just undermining your authority. Yeah.
Yeah. I never understood why, like, that's such a normal thing for, like, my boss is kind of, a jerk or whatever. It's like, why... We all have to work places. Like, why aren't you treating people like you would want to be treated? Is this how you would want to be treated? You can be firm without, being rude to people or taking things personally.
Yeah.
We all have lives, and it's hard enough to come here every day. So let's make the environment good, because that's a lot of time. Like, anytime I've had a new job, like, the scariest thing for the most part is not whether I can do the job. It's, am I going to fit in with these people? Not even but just get along with them.
Right. Yeah.
And that was the problem with my second job there. It's like, I just did not fit in.
Yeah.
In that culture. It was a very kiss butt culture.
You're a very unique individual, though, in, like, the most beautiful way. Like, just be like, because I feel like you can put on, you can put on the dad face, you can put on the professional face, like, but at the end of the day, you're Jason Yunker. You have the most amazing, infectious laugh, and you're the most absurd human being in the world. Your last name is literally Yunker.
Yeah.
Which just sounds like a joke.
Yeah, right.
But it's always interesting to watch. It's almost like knowing somebody's crazy, but then watching them function in the real world.
Dude, even my girls say you're weird. My grandma used to say, she's still like, I've been called weird my whole life.
Yeah.
And especially when my girls say it to me, I'm like, good, thank you.
Yeah.
Good. I don't want to be, you tell me what normal is.
That's what's interesting about having kids too, is like, they've already put together what they consider normal. And they're like, of course they love you insanely, but they're like, you're different.
Yeah. Well, I want them to follow their heart, and if you follow your heart, you're gonna be a weirdo.
Right. I agree completely.
That's it.
And of course, there's different degrees of weirdo. Like,
right.
But I consider it a positive. I agree. Like, it's a compliment. Somebody's like, you're really weird. I'm like, yeah. You're really normal.
It doesn't always feel great to be called weird. That's for sure. But you got to remind yourself that it is a compliment, and for whatever they like. And sometimes you're like, did I go a little too weird with this one? Maybe you do need to think about it.
Certain members of our little group here, especially like people like me, you, even Walsh to an extent, and T and Jason, Carey, are like, our goal is to take it as weird as possible,
right?
Until people are like, that's not even funny anymore. That's when we're like, okay, now it's good,
right? And that's why, like, after T passed away last year, like, Jason, Carey, immediately, you guys both were immediately making jokes. It's like, thank you. Yeah. I love that, because, yes, I think we all agree with the idea that you can either make fun of everything or you can't make fun of anything.
For sure. Yeah, which I think is, the key to why we're the way we are and why we see the world the way we do, because we can, it's jarring, I understand, for people to hear, because we're going to make dark, incredibly horrific jokes.
Right.
But it has to be done. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Right.
At all. I don't want to make somebody, and those jokes do hurt to say, but that's what you have to still, like.
And I think too, just like, the jokes are like, you take what's normal and veer off into a different perspective.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's weird enough. Yeah, it could be dark, but weird enough compared to what's quote unquote normal.
Yeah.
That it makes you think something different, like, okay, or makes you laugh because it's like, that's so crazy that.
Yeah, the absurdity, I think in those situations, the absurdity or the audacity, even that somebody said that out loud.
Right.
You're like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, because I remember, just to give you an example, I don't want to get into too much, but I feel like people are like, what do they mean? Like, when my girlfriend passed away, literally, like, that night, my mom asked me to do something, and I was like, my girlfriend just died. Which is that's a coping mechanism for me, and it is jarring to hear, but it's also, it is funny.
Right. Well, you got, and life goes on. That's how, I mean, that's what I want when I pass away. I want everybody. I don't want people. Oh, I mean, be, feel what you feel, but don't focus on the sad. Let's celebrate the life.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what I'm all about. I would like people joking and keep on going.
You would hope. Like, it's like I said, it's a tough situation, but I feel like that's the way. At least it's the way we do it.
That's the best part of life. Like, dude, the best times are when our group is together and we are all faces hurting from laughter. Like, the goal is just to laugh.
That's true.
Like,
there's nothing.
That's beautiful.
That. Yeah,
that is the best. Those are my favorite in my life. I could say some of my favorite times, or when I feel the best, is when I've been able to, like, sometimes you just get in the zone and you're shooting jokes out and like you're getting lots of laughs. And when you can make everybody laugh and you're feeling the laughter too, oh man, that's just the best. Like, you go home and you feel so good. It's like, oh, I wish it could always be like this.
Yeah. Speaking of absurdities and ridiculousness, there's a tale that exists that I would love to hear about because I've seen it, but I never really had a chance to talk about it.
Okay.
A little thing called Raymond's Tale.
Oh, yeah.
What is that?
It is a movie that we made in high school. And I use that term loosely. It's an 18-minute, ridiculous thing.
It's a short art house film.
It's a short, like basically like YouTube today, but we did it on a VHS cassette with one of those big camcorders.
Who had the camera?
It was mine.
Was it?
Yeah. I mean, we used to play with that thing for hours.
Yeah.
And that's how it started. I don't know. T did something funny, and we're like, hey, let's make a movie on this, and then we did.
Who was involved in that?
Teresina, Walsh, Marty, Reba, Nate Rugg, Randy Moore.
Wow, I didn't even realize Randy was part of it. That's crazy.
Yeah, and then the other homies around too would pop in for just goofing around.
Little cameos.
Yeah, well, they were in it, but might have been there when we were.
Oh, filming.
Yeah, because Nick Sajeski. Yeah, because there's some of the shots, like he's terrible at video because he's laughing the whole time,
he's got such an interrupting laugh.
Yeah, his laugh always makes things better. Anyway,
that's true.
So,
yeah. So it came across just from him kind of doing ridiculousness.
I have these big pillows at my house that my grandma made, and he stuffed it up his shirt and he went outside to go get my mail, and so we recorded that. And then I did this little bit in the bathroom where I was like, I had a comb and I was like, every morning I comb my hair, and I ran the comb through my hair, and then it got stuck in my hair, like I lost it, and I looked around and I was like, that's okay, I have more, and I grabbed out another one. Like, that's pretty much the premise.
Was that did you write that, or were you just riffing?
We just riffed.
Whatever the hell comes out.
Yeah, dude, there was no end.
Structure.
We just started making, and at the end we're like, okay, oh, you're gonna lose, your family's about to lose your house, and you win the lottery. That's it. Okay, and then you become the president of the United States. Obvious progression.
Right. Is that the only thing that you guys really put together in that way?
Yeah. And dude, Nate's brother was going to IMSA at the time, so he was able to render graphics into the video, which took days for it to render, the 18 minutes. So it was pretty crazy for the time, the technology.
Did it ever get digitized? Do you still have a copy of it?
It's on YouTube.
Oh, it is on YouTube. Oh,
yeah.
Nice. Under just Raven's Tale?
Raven's Tale, yeah. You can find it. I'm surprised. All it's going to take is one report, and it'll probably get taken down. It's about a mentally handicapped kid which is probably, I'm surprised. Well, you can't even really hear. It's so bad. It's so bad. The quality is so awful.
Like nobody knew that until you just said it.
Right. No, I know, but whatever. It was fun. It was fun making. And you know what? We sold copies at the school. Like people bought it on VHS from us, and they loved it. And
you just set up the old 2 VCRs and recorded one.
I sat there for hours recording them. Because you had to like play it while the other one recorded.
I would love to hear if anybody had bought a copy. I just want to hear that somebody actually purchased one.
Dude, Tavares, Tavares?
I do.
He was Raymond's Tale disappeared from the earth.
Yeah.
Well, obviously not, but it was gone. None of us had a copy for 15 years or something like that. It was just gone. And then one day, Rob Balchunas was like, "Yo, I talked to Tavares. His mom found the copy. His mom had moved to, I think, Georgia or something.
Yeah.
And in a box, it was there. And I contacted Tavares, like, "Yo, dude, do whatever you can to get me that copy." And he did. He came through. I got it.
That's awesome.
And then I ripped it on the computer, which, I had a VHS DVD combo, so I ripped it on a DVD and then ported it over. So the quality is just awful. It is awful. Yes, it's really, really bad.
That's still really awesome though, and what a funny story. Like 15 years later.
Yeah.
Tavares was one of my first friends when I moved we were in the same homeroom.
Okay.
In junior high.
Yeah.
You know what? Somebody in his family had bought him Green Day's Dookie.
Okay.
And he's like, I don't listen to this.
And
I bought that album from him. Is how I got a copy
of
Green Day's Dookie.
Nice.
Which is just a little Easter egg for you.
Yeah, he's a good dude. I met him.
I haven't talked to him in a long time, but he's a good dude.
I met him freshman year in my math class. He sat next to T and I. And, T would just sit there and make the dude laugh like crazy.
He would do that. He was such an absurd person.
Yeah. That's where I think I got a lot of my own like he taught me. I always looked up to him.
Yeah.
He
loved that, and he wanted people to look up to him.
Yeah.
He liked to be that guy on the top of like whatever we were doing.
Right, and he was like
hard to argue.
Yeah.
He was so fun to make fun of, though.
Right, but again, and you know what? That's another thing about us is we're able to make fun of ourselves.
Yeah.
Or like, make fun of ourselves. That's what that's how you can fight against. Words. Why do people get so upset about words? You can't say that about me.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Right.
And if they do, then what? You're going to be mad? Or the funniest to me is if somebody, can you imagine, and this happens all the time, well, what did you end up in jail for? Somebody showed me their middle finger, so I punched them and beat the snot out of them. Okay, it's because I get what it means, but why do you have to? Okay, fine, go ahead. Point wherever you want to point.
People take life so serious. I have a friend of mine the other day, or a couple weeks ago, somebody cut him off, and he flipped him off, and they followed him until he parked.
Yeah.
And then 2 guys got out of the car and and it's like, okay. Are
you caused me an inconvenience.
Right. Did this really ruin your whole day?
Yeah. Well, and when people argue with each other, why do you care so much about what this other person thinks? You're arguing with them is telling them, I care so much about your opinion that I want you to have my opinion so that you can share my opinion with others and people will know his opinion. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me.
It is insane. I do think that there's probably certain things that are opinions that shouldn't be.
Sure.
But I think that, God, how boring would life be if we all just thought the same? I think that's the point, is having that mentality. Even something as simple as earlier, when we were just talking about the church and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. There's a time in my life, but I would reject that.
Yeah.
And it would just make me annoyed, or at least I would be like, really?
Yeah.
Really, Jason? That's what you do?
Yeah.
Which is horrible. Why?
Yeah.
Now that I've grown and seen a lot of perspective, mostly because of you and the fact that you've always let me talk to you about it
Uh-huh.
and be like, oh, this is, I'm not saying anything negative here. I'm trying to interject something that isn't there, and I'm failing. I might as well accept it for what it is.
Well, yeah, we have to be able to talk to each other because, like, I mean, okay, take something like racism. You know, it's not a good thing, right?
Yes, let's solve racism real quick.
Well, no, I'm just saying, take a situation where like somebody grew up in a family where like they were just racist, and
Sure.
like obviously it's a hateful thing, but they let's say they moved somewhere where it wasn't that way, and they're not allowed to even talk about it. People won't even. Okay, it's like, all right, well, I'm really confused because I have these thoughts. Right. So maybe I want to express these thoughts just so I have a communication with somebody, so we can talk, so that I can grow as a person. But you never know.
Because you have to see that other perspective to even know it exists.
Yeah, like one of the things that opened my eyes to perspective about society in general was going to Disney World, because I met people from all over the world.
It's got to be one hell of a melting pot.
Yeah, because you can take something like that and talk to somebody from Africa, and they're like, oh yeah, we don't, some of that stuff we don't, it doesn't, none of that doesn't bother us.
Yeah.
You know, it's different. Like, we have different things there. We got our own stuff.
Right.
You know, and you do, like, you realize there's like groups. You see that in high school too, where it's like, oh, our school's better than your school.
Yeah.
Oh, because we live here. We're, you know, everybody wants to be part of a group.
What's weird too about that
they want to
is,
be part of the winning group.
to some extent, the school even fuels that.
Yeah,
To
I know,
some
right?
extent,
Yeah.
where it's like, gotta be the best. I always remember when we were in high school, it's like one of my most vivid memories is seeing some sport thing was coming up for some sports ball, and it just said Melt Mount Carmel, and I was like, ugh. Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I remember me and Mike Donner used to just make fun of all of the sports rhetoric.
Yeah, I'm not a very competitive person, other than I like competition and the fun in it. Like, there can be fun in it as long as it is enjoyable.
Right. Well, it's like we play a lot of tabletop games.
Yeah.
And we have a D&D group as well that you're part of. Like, and it's so fun to have that lighthearted competitiveness.
Yeah.
And it feels good to win. Probably, I feel like I never win, but
right.
it's probably awesome.
It's nice to win, but I don't care, because if I'll spend 3 hours with my friends just laughing and having a good time.
And that's actually key. So I talked to Annie the other day, and she was talking about one of the things we realized while talking is that she doesn't, like, there's a beginning and an end point to everything, and a goal or a finish. There's nothing that, like, you listen to a song, and the whole point is to listen to the song,
right?
Not get to the end of the song,
right?
She doesn't have anything in her life where it's like just to enjoy what is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're right. The way we play games is 100% that journey of being together and just like having a good time.
I listened to an Alan Watts talk about that, about how the dance is not about
otherwise
people would dance really quick to just get done. No, it's not.
It's literally what I quoted. I didn't like quote it exactly because I didn't want to tell her it was Alan Watts. So I feel like sometimes people will glaze over and be like,
oh yeah.
But I love Alan Watts. And
me too.
That's awesome. One of those things. Now I lost my train of thought.
Just the dance of life.
That's all right. Should we sit here in awkward silence for a minute?
Yeah, well, you can cut it out, right?
No. So I don't. So far, I haven't edited anything. Other than, like, if it's peaking, I'll adjust the levels. But my goal is to not edit as much as possible. Like, even with the fireworks going off earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Annie's dog was barking. I recorded with Kane. There's like, we were at Silver Springs and geese are going crazy.
Oh, that's awesome.
The goal is kind of like life happens.
Yeah.
And it's at our age, it's so important and amazing just to find time.
Yeah.
I don't want to worry about all this other stuff.
Yeah. Well, another thing about our group of friends is everybody just like, we all come from different backgrounds and families and whatnot, but like, I think the one thing we all agree on over everything is just like love and kindness and respect to one another. Like, we don't have to believe the same things.
Right.
We respect each other. We just want to laugh. We want to make each other feel good. We want to be there for each other. And it was interesting how in high school and like coming up, in college, like, going from party to party, and people come and go, and it was like the people who seemed to that like kind of got picked up along the way, who joined the group are the ones who, who have shared in that idea of love and kindness and
that genuine togetherness and stuff like that. Like we're a tight knit group and pretty protective. But there's, and even with that, there's like levels too and stuff like that. Like it's like a circle.
Yeah, no, it's no corners. Like a square has come to a stop. Yeah.
So, what do you think is next for Jason Yunker and his family?
Well, I'm going to be getting my actual teaching degree.
Oh, nice.
And be a teacher.
Very cool.
And
does it have to go then beyond a bachelor's?
So I can just get the certificate,
okay,
or I can do 1 credit hour more and get the master's degree.
Do you literally need 1 credit hour?
No, well, to go, so the certificate program, let's say, it varies from school, but let's say it's 9 credit hours.
Right.
Well, the master's would be 10 credit hours.
Oh,
it's like
okay. So it just adds
just
1.
Do the master's.
Yeah. Okay.
At the same time.
You think you would do that maybe later, or?
Oh, I'm gonna be starting that this year.
Nice.
So I'll do that, and then eventually just become a teacher, because, that was when COVID hit. Tasha, my ex-wife, and I got divorced, and when I realized I'm probably only going to get to see my kids half the time.
Yeah.
I want to spend 100% of that time with my kids.
Yeah.
Not at some job. And
Right.
I've always thought about being a teacher.
Yeah.
And so that's when I decided, what, I'm going to become a teacher so that I'm on the same schedule as them.
Right.
And
which is awesome that even as a substitute, you've got to kind of be with them in their classes.
Right. Yeah. I got
awesome.
to test it out, and I know I love it. It's, it's no Disney, but
how many times do you get to be like, do we do that at home?
Yeah, right. That's not what we do. Mm-mm. You should know that. You should know that. But yeah, I got to test that out and see that I like it. I was gonna say hey, I'm walking here. It's no Disney, but I don't dread going into it.
Yeah.
I don't go to sleep thinking, oh, geez, you gotta go to bed by this time. Like, I better get some sleep so I can have a good day tomorrow. Do.
That's funny, because I feel the same way about being in the school. Because I actually left for a couple weeks and went back to factory work.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was way more money. And after like 3 days, after 2 days, I was like, I hate this. Dude, I hate the way I feel.
I was going to say, when I heard that you did that, I was like, rooting you on for what you needed to do, but also my heart broke a little bit, because I knew from talking to you that you felt the same way as I did about doing this, and I saw how good you were at it, and it's like...
That's what had happened, really, is like...
money is not...
Because I felt bad telling them, too, and I'm like, I've never had, I've never been into a job, so I was just like, I can do this just so it pays for my life. Yeah. To where now it's like you said, like, it's not a dread, it's still a job. Yeah. I still get up early and I drive an hour to work. But like, what's the worst thing that's gonna happen in my day is like the cafeteria's gonna run out of chocolate milk. Yeah. Oh, like no.
It makes sense. Like like I can see the path through the day, or like this job makes sense. I'm working with people and helping them learn or just have a good day. Like versus being in a cubicle office. Like tomorrow you're going to spend 8 hours coding something for a website about carpet. Super.
Yeah, that does. Even hearing you say it just hurt my heart. Yeah,
it's like, it just, I don't know.
Don't get me wrong, I love that there's people out there that's all they want and can do. Yeah. And they make good money doing it.
Yeah,
like,
no,
awesome.
for sure. No,
good just, on you.
And hopefully those people go to bed at night thinking, yes, tomorrow 8 hours. Like I've got, I can see that time being filled, because even though I filled in that time, I couldn't see it the night before. Every day would be like, how am I going to? I'm going to spend 8 hours all day doing this.
Well, I think that's the shift right there. Is how am I going to get through this, as opposed to like I get to go do this.
Right,
which is huge.
Whatever gets thrown at me, like I just get to. My goal is to make the kids have a good day. Like, I want the kids to have a good day, be safe, and hopefully learn.
Luckily, in my situation, I am a good day.
Right? Nice. Tim, good day.
Stop it.
That was when I worked at Disney. my rule was like my core value was I am here to make people's vacations better.
Yeah.
So as long as I like went for that,
Yeah.
then it was great.
Did you ever get to do any mascotty stuff down there?
No.
Or like any character work?
I auditioned for like face characters.
Yeah.
But
what does that mean?
So like one of the characters that
doesn't have to wear a full thing.
Yeah, like I thought maybe Jafar or something like that.
You thought you could be Jafar?
Yeah, or something like that tall or whatever.
I like that tall was your rationale, not that he's clearly a Middle Eastern man.
Bro, this was in 2002.
Oh, right,
we didn't talk about that stuff
before
yet.
whitewashing was a thing.
Yeah, right, exactly. No, well, I mean, and at the time, that was what you auditioned for was your height, like.
Which
you
makes
just went
sense,
in
honestly,
and they looked at you.
Because you are uncomfortably tall.
Yeah.
What, you 6'3"?
No, well, yeah, 6'3". 6'2".
What do you say no?
Well, it's 6'2" and 3/4.
Okay, well, I don't want you to have that extra quarter.
Right, exactly.
As a 5'10" man,
right.
I'm
be honest
uncomfortable about it.
I think
in fact, if I could take your inches, that sounds like a weird
yeah,
conversation. That's something else.
Yeah.
I still take them.
No, I like to be very honest about that because
about your height.
Well, people are weird about that. Like, just be honest. Like, I don't, and it's like I go the other way. People lie about their age. I've been for the last 5 years. I've been saying I'm 40, just because then I don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
And if people like, I see people like they're so scared of turning 40, so maybe I'll just accept it now.
Yeah.
And then tell people I'm 40 because I don't really care that much.
How do you feel being 40? No different, right?
No.
I got to be honest. Like, probably in my 20s, I always thought I'd be dead by 26. So I always consider myself on like extra special time, which makes me like really grateful for every moment.
Right, that's a good way to
But
look
I think
at it.
back then it was like 40 was crazy, and I'm like, I'm gonna get depressed. I'm gonna hate it. And now that it's happened, I'm like, it's great.
Yeah.
If I had to stay a certain age, like I'd probably stay 40, just because of where I'm at in life, mentally and emotionally and stuff. Physically, I've still got ways to go, but.
Especially working with kids, like, oh man, you're old, and like, I guess I am.
Old, yeah.
You know what I like?
Even that though is funny because like they'll be talking about stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, let me tell you, because I know all the video game stuff. Like these kids will pull it. They have their website like Cool Math Games.
Oh yeah.
Every week they've got some new game, and I launch it on my computer.
Yeah.
And I absolutely destroy them. And then they spend the week trying to catch up and beat me.
Yeah.
And which they never do.
Right.
I pride myself on destroying 12-year-olds.
That's one of the cool things about where we're at now with technology is that we're able to see the culture.
Yeah.
Without culture is kind of becoming ageless in a sense.
It is. Yeah.
Because everybody who's on, let's say, TikTok or something, you're seeing this culture come from everybody of all ages.
Well, I think if you go back to realistically, probably 20-year-olds back, they kind of evolved with it. Like we evolved kind of slower, but over the last 20 years, it's changed fast.
Yeah.
So they've all evolved with it really fast. So you've literally got kids all the way up to 60-year-olds. Because you figure when they were already are younger than us, 30s in the 90s. So they're used to that big boom, and like they were able to plug in then.
Yeah.
But like people like my mom, no way. My mom refuses to be a part of anything technological.
Yeah.
Like I pay for her phone, I have to program it, I pay for all the streaming services.
Yeah.
She's like, it's not working. I have to go and log in and do everything.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm a senior citizen.
Yeah.
I do not. I have senior rights. And I'm like, no, you're just being a baby and refuse to grow up.
Right. Just play with your phone a little bit more. You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, just knowing more of the slang and stuff, like being in the school. I was calling attendance the one day, and this one I called his name, and he said Sigma. You know what that is, right?
Yeah.
Suck my balls.
Right.
I just glazed over it because it was fourth grade. Most of the kids nobody laughed.
Right.
I don't even know if he knew what he was saying.
Something you just heard.
Yeah.
And that's funny to me too, because if you call attention to it, you're just going to teach the whole class what it is.
Right.
And that's
I just went
not
on.
smart.
Yeah. Like, no, let's keep on.
I do like the new slang too. Like when I was talking to one of the kids, and they're like, "Say less," and I was like, "Huh?"
Yeah. I like too that I even have a slang that annoys me as an old man, and that is, "Let's go." Let's go, because people generally yell it after they already went.
Right.
Like they'll win something, like, yeah, let's go. It's like, dude, it's over. No, we're done.
Yeah.
We went. That's what you should say.
We did it, gang.
Neato, gang. I love saying howdy to random people. One day I was coming back from my grandma's house in Woodridge, riding the bike trails.
Yeah.
And it was like around 4th of July last year, and I came by this group of teenagers, and I was like, howdy. Oh, man, they look, howdy. They're making fun of me. But, like, you know, I thought I like saying it, so
yeah.
that's partly why I say it.
Also, if nothing else, like, they're going to go and tell that story and get another chuckle out of it.
Yeah.
Like, this tall, lanky man howdied us.
Dude, when I went to Wabanzi, okay, remember in Tommy Boy when Chris Farley passed by that girl, he was like, hey, how you doing? Yeah. Right? That's what I would do when every person I walked by, hey, how you doing? And almost nobody said even hi back to me. Or when they did, I knew they had a good sense of humor.
Yeah.
You know another fun story from Wabanzi? You remember Irv?
Yeah.
Lauder?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I told you.
He's a fireman, I believe now.
Is he?
I don't know.
But anyways, he used to work at Wabanzi. And one day I was walking from the other side of the campus to the other side of the campus. And I see him off in the distance. And it's like busy, people walking everywhere. And I walk through the grass turn like, yo, Irv! Irv, what's up, Irv, right? Irv! And I get closer, and I see it's not Irv. But he's walking towards me, and he's like, hey, I'm not Irv, but how you doing? I talked to him, and we walked to our classes or whichever way together. He's a totally cool dude or whatever. But
that's amazing, because usually you'd be mortified.
Yeah.
And everybody would just pretend this didn't happen.
Right.
And this guy's like, I'm not Irv, but let's be friends.
I made a mistake. That's fine. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Right.
Well, that's probably a good place to stop it, that you can't identify people from far away.
Yeah. Well, I got these glasses.
I got these glasses. Appreciate you coming by, man. Making some time. I'm excited for where you're at. It sounds like you've got some great plans. I like where you're going.
Yeah.
You are a beautiful man.
You're as beautiful as you.
Love you, friend.
Love you too.